Marcus Serwin here from Pink Buckaroo Designs, and I have a really fun, cute fall gift for somebody in your life, and it doesn't involve candy or sweets. This box holds one of these really fun little hand butter, hand cream from Bath & Body Works. It's the sweet cinnamon pumpkin flavor. They always have really cool flavors. So I made this really interesting box to hold it, and I used the Many Blessings stamp set to decorate the front. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is make the box, and you're going to need your Simply Scored, and you're going to need several pieces of cardstock. Now this project I originally did during a Facebook Live, and you can find the PDF that has all the products as well as these measurements over on my blog. I'll have it listed here on YouTube, and you can click back over and find all the information for this project as well as two other projects that feature this adorable Many Blessings stamp set. All right, the first piece of cardstock you're going to need measures 2 by 10.5. And we're going to score it at 4 3/4 and 5 3/4. The second piece of crumb cake cardstock you're going to need is 2 by 3 5/8, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 1.5 inches. All right, so this box folds over, and a regular piece of cardstock just isn't long enough. So that's why we've had to do it in 2 separate pieces. This piece, we're gonna burnish these lines, and we're gonna adhere this to one end like that. And I recommend that you use tear and tape for this. Tear and tape is a great, super strong adhesive that will hold your 3D projects together, and they will not come apart. All right, so we've scored this. You're gonna take this smaller section right here and actually lay the long one on top of the short one so that this tab is actually going to be on the inside. So you can see now how it folds up. Let me show you from the side like that. So we have a rectangle, and this little piece comes over like that. All right, so now we're going to round the corners just on this little lip that comes over, and I'm going to just use this triple punch here to round those. Now we're going to do a little bit of stamping, and let me show you again. Here is how it looks, and I'm going to open it and just stamp right here first. Now I'm using another stamp set called Gallery Grunge. This is a great stamp set to kind of pair with other stamps to add some texture to your projects. I really like this one right here. It looks like distressed wood, and I'm going to use crumb cake ink it up really well. Notice how I turned the stamp upside down and I inked it like that because the stamp is larger than the pad, so we need to be able to see what we're doing and make sure that we cover it. All right, so I'm just going to lay that down right in the center like that. And then I'm going to come up here. Remember this piece that folds over? We want to add some texture to this part also. So ink just the top part up, and there we go. All right, so let's take a look at it. This folds up and this folds over, so you can see how it's got some nice texture. And you could of course do it on all the sides if you liked. All right, now we need to make that little box on the inside. All right, to make the box, you're gonna need a piece of pumpkin pie that measures 3.5 by 6. And you're just gonna score it at 1 inch on all 4 sides. Now before we put this box together, we need to punch that hole in the top section right here. And you're going to take the 3/4 inch circle punch, and you want to eyeball it. You can even draw a little dot in the center if you want to get make sure that it's perfect. But I look at these lines and make sure it's all centered and punch that hole right there. All right, now we're ready to put this box together. So burnish all your lines, and then take your scissors and cut the score lines just on the long side. All right, now we're going to take some tear and tape, and put on each square. Now I love tear and tape because you can just tear it. You don't need your scissors to cut it. And it also easily comes off. However, I will tell you that tear and tape knows when you're making a video and it decides to be difficult and it's hard to peel. So hopefully I can get this done in a timely manner. Now if you don't have nails that are long enough to peel that off, just use your scissors, the tip of your scissors, or your paper piercer, or even the new Take Your Pick tool. All right, so fold those in like that. And now we've got our box. Now let me show you how this lotion goes in because that's not gonna fit. So what I did, so that it doesn't come out of the box, I opened it and kind of threaded that through that hole right there. And then I put the lid back on. So there is your box. All right, now let's put it on the inside. You're gonna wanna get some more of your tear and tape. Put quite a bit down because this box is gonna be heavy. And we're gonna lay this in, the box right in there. Well, come on, tear and tape. Put another one up here. Across the top, and let's put one here on this middle tab right here. I don't want to make it too long. There we go. All right, so we're going to lay this in right at the bottom of that line. Press it down and then fold that up. Well, I need to take that off, don't I? Fold that up. And there you have it. So it's going to close like that. See how that looks from the side? And they open it. It's fancy. So cute. All right, now to hold our box closed, we're actually going to put on the tag here so that this will slide underneath. But let's go ahead and make our tag first, and then we will do that. Now, the Mini Blessings stamp set is just a really, really cute stamp set that includes stamps for fall and stamps for Christmas, although it has these sunflowers too, which I think could be used all year long. But my favorite one is definitely the pumpkin. It's very fallish, and I just really love pumpkins. Whoops. Okay, so now I've got to pull up my chair. I color better when I'm sitting. All right, we're going to use lots of colors here. We're going to start with pumpkin pie. And I'm going to start with this pumpkin here in the middle. And I'm going to color it with a light pumpkin pie. And then I'm going to go back with my dark pumpkin pie. And I'm going to trace those lines there. And then I'm going to draw a line here where it's in the little box crate. That creates a shadow. And I'm going to take my light and just kind of blend it all together. All right, next we're going to do a different colored pumpkin, and this is Cajun Craze. So I'm going to start again in the same manner with a light Cajun Craze. And I'm going to color my whole pumpkin in. And then I'm going to go back with my dark and trace those lines and make a little shadow here behind the crate and the other pumpkin. And blend it all together. Notice I'm leaving my blends open while I'm working with those two colors. Makes it a little bit easier. All right, this pumpkin I think we'll do in the light again, the light pumpkin pie. I've used this stamp several times, and sometimes I leave this pumpkin white because I love white pumpkins. I get a little crazy this time of year and buy lots of pumpkins for our porch. My husband always rolls his eyes, but there's always a white one in there. All right, now let's do our apple, and I'm going to use dark Real Red. I'm not going to put a whole lot of dimension on this one. our leaves, let's do them in Old Olive. I'm going to do Old Olive Light. And then go back with my Old Olive Dark and just kind of trace those lines like that. Now this gourd right here can be colored in lots of different ways, but I'm just going to do Daffodil Delight Light, and then Daffodil Delight Dark there in the middle. All right, now let's get our crumb cake and start with Crumb Cake Light. Color it all the way in. Be careful around your little characters there, your other pieces. Now, when it has these little marks right here like this, that's definitely a key to show you need to add some shadow. But I also know that there would be shadow right here on those lines and along the bottom. So I'm going to outline those with a darker crumb cake and then just blend it all together with the light. Now, last thing we need to do to these guys with a crumb cake is add their color in their stems, and I use the dark crumb cake on that. All right, there's one more thing we need to do, and I forgot to grab it, the light smoky slate. I always like to take this and put a very small line under the bottom of everything. This creates a small shadow and grounds your object so they're not just floating off in space. All right, so there you go. Now we're going to layer this up, and I'm going to put a dimensional on this pumpkin pie stitch circle. That's the second largest, and then a pumpkin pie starburst, which is a punch. I stamped this on the frames. It's called Floral Frames Framelits, and this is the label that's in that set, and I just absolutely love it. All right, now let's add the sentiment. And the sentiment for this is a little bit big for me, so I thought, you know what, we're just going to use that word thankful. So I got a small piece of crumb cake, and I'm going to stamp just that thankful part there. And then I am going to just cut it with my scissors. Cut it so it's really skinny. And then we're going to take it and take a glue dot because it's so tiny. And I'm just going to put it right there in the middle. Well, I don't like covering up my apple, maybe a little bit higher. All right, now let's put this together, and then there's one final touch we're going to add to this. Before you adhere this, you need to look at the lid and see where it needs to be. So I've put the dimensionals here on the bottom, like that. And when I lay this on here, I'm going to hold that lid closed, and I'm going to put the dimensionals down here, like that. That way I can tell, I can see where I need to put it to hold that little lid closed. All right, now there's one more thing I want to do to this box besides add the bow. We're going to do a little gold splatter. I'm going to take the Vegas Gold Shimmer Paint. This is new in the holiday catalog, and I'm just going to put a tiny, tiny, tiny little drop right there. This is on just one of my clear blocks. And I'm going to take my aqua painter and add some water, kind of dilute it, and then I'm going to flick it. And I just take my finger and just flick, flick, flick all over. Now another way you can do that is to put it in your lid and just flick it like that until you have enough gold splatter. Oh, don't you love it? I think that really takes this project up quite a bit. All right, last but not least is always our bow. So let's add the braided trim, braided linen trim. I love this stuff, it's wonderful. It's thicker than our linen thread, but not too thick. and it's perfect for fall. All right, so just take that bow and right there at the top. And there you have it. A fun little treat for anybody in your life who maybe think a little hand cream would be better than some candy. All right, have a wonderful fall and let me know if you have questions. Thanks. Bye-bye.